Hi my angels, it's Hailey, Reese, and I hope that you guys are having a fantastic morning, afternoon, night, whatever it is for you when today's video finally reaches you. For today's video, I am super excited because one of my favorite series here on my channel, whenever I do videos and I talk about a different series that I've done, I always say it's one of my favorite. I kind of love all of the series that I do, but this really truly is one of my favorite series that I've done, and that's where we look at popular horror films and dive into perhaps the true stories that inspired the film or the legends that inspired the film and what the truth is behind it. And so for today's video, we are going to be diving into yet another horror film. Today's video being the true story behind The Hills Have Eyes. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I hear that a horror film may have been inspired by true events or was inspired by true events or is even completely based on a true story, it just freaks me out all the more. And I love a good horror film. The only horror films that really freak me out are those of possessions, but today, we are not diving into one of those. But before we get into today's video, I would just very quickly like to thank today's video sponsor, Philo. Philo is a live TV streaming app with 50 plus channels and all of your favorite shows in their current seasons. Philo saves you hundreds of dollars a month that you would be spending on cable, and it's available on multiple devices such as your tablet, your laptop, your phone, TVs with Roku, and more. They have shows like 90 Day Fiancé, Walking Dead, and even popular kids shows like Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol. So if you guys would like to try out Philo, I know you guys would love it just as much as I do, there's a link down in the description you can click for free 7 days plus 30% off of your first month. So thank you so much to Philo for sponsoring, and without further ado, let's get into today's video. So you guys may have seen The Hills Have Eyes that came out in 2006.
Did you find a signal?
No.
But it was actually a remake of the 1977 film The Hills Have Eyes by Wes Craven. It tells the story of a family who encounters individuals who seem rather deformed and are cannibals, in essence. However, The Hills Have Eyes is actually just kind of a sci-fi twist on an old Scottish legend that some believe to be true, while others think it's nothing more than a legend. And that is exactly what we're going to get into today. So first and foremost, I have done enough digging into the dark web, into the deep web, into that world to know that cannibalism does exist. But the level of cannibalism that we're about to dive into is so unfathomable that I want to know at the end of today's video what you guys think. Do you think that it's just an urban legend, or do you think that there's some truth to it? So Wes Craven admitted that the idea for The Hills Have Eyes kind of came to light for him after learning of Sawney Bean and the Bean Clan, which is essentially a massive cannibalistic family. And he also noted that the road near where they lived seemed to be haunted, as it was believed that people who traveled down it would disappear. As the 15th century legend goes, Sawney Bean was the son of a landscaper, but he had zero desire to follow into his father's footsteps and really didn't want to make an honest living. So instead, he and his wife headed for a coastal cave. They lived in this cave in Scotland, and this cave was actually, in essence, a very good hiding spot for somebody who didn't want to be found. In fact, I believe it was even said that during high tide, the entrance of the cave would be covered with water. So it was a good hiding spot. There they would have 8 sons, 6 daughters, which would then lead to 18 grandsons and 14 granddaughters, which are believed to, or at least most of them are believed to be products of incest. The Bean Clan, as they would be called, this giant family, would hide out in their cave during the day, only leaving their cave at night. Which, could you even imagine this many people living in a cave? It's unfathomable, which is why perhaps many people believe it's an urban legend, but they would only come out at night. It was believed that when the moon came out and the night got dark, the Bean Clan would head out of their cave and ambush travelers on the roads nearby their cave, robbing them and then killing them and bringing them back to their cave to kind of disassemble them and prepare them for dinner. They would eat these travelers. It was believed that for 25 years, nobody knew of the Bean Clan and nobody knew of what they were doing. The only telling of what they'd been doing was that people were disappearing. And there were occasional body parts that would wash up on shore, but nobody knew who was responsible for the disappearance of these travelers and why these body parts were washing up on shore. It's like they knew something was up, but they couldn't pinpoint it. Eventually, the Beans would be taken down when they would attempt to ambush somebody who was more skilled than they anticipated and was able to kind of keep them at bay from him until more people came and more help came, when they would then retreat back to their cave because they knew that they weren't getting away with that one. Now aware of their presence, it's said that the king then sent out his soldiers and bloodhound dogs to track down this family and to bring justice to all of their victims. And so that is exactly what they did. And they would eventually find their way to the cave led by the dogs and find the Bean Clan all within there, surrounded by body parts from their victims. The Beans were then taken and they were condemned to death without trial. I mean, naturally so, the body parts were everywhere. It was pretty obvious what they'd been doing. And it was said that the men were killed first of like blood loss and wounds that they'd inflicted. And then the women, after being forced to have witnessed this, were burned and also killed. So after 25 years, it was believed that the Bean Clan was taken down once and for all. But it was noted that they'd probably killed around 1,000 people during this span of them coming out in the night and ambushing travelers. Although there are plenty of historians who believe that this is nothing more than a legend. There's a couple of reasons why it's believed that even at best, it's probably an exaggerated truth. In essence, there's a historical inaccuracy when it comes to the time frame of when the Bean Clan actually existed. Some people believe that it was in the 15th century, while others believe it was in the 17th century. Additionally, there really wasn't 1,000 reports of people who had went missing documented, and on top of that, there's no documentation of such a massive family execution. You would think if that many people were executed at once without trial, that would be documented in history somewhere, but there's no evidence of it. However, there are several records within the 15th century of spans of starvation that could have resorted or could have led people to resort in cannibalism, which in turn could coincide with the Bean family or the Bean Clan story. But nobody knows for certain. But people visit the Sawney Bean cave where the Bean Clan lived, and they believe that the souls of the family are still there. In fact, it's incredibly haunted, and it's a place that I would love to go and visit and investigate and see if I sense anything within there, or if I can document anything within there. But it's said that the area surrounding still has people go missing sometimes. That if you visit the cave, you can feel the Bean Clan around you. And there's plenty of people who believe that it's not a legend at all, but rather a truth that was never truly documented. Either way, this is the legend that inspired The Hills Have Eyes. And I think it's really interesting to think about anyways. I'm always fascinated to dive into urban legends and learn more about the places that these legends have taken place in. And I also love to spark a debate with you guys and hear what you guys think. Are some of you from Scotland? Have you heard of this legend? What do you think of it? Do you think it's real? Let me know in the comments below, and I will certainly be reading through all of them because this has really fascinated me, and it just makes me want to go rewatch The Hills Have Eyes now and kind of see the correlation between the tale and the movie. With that being said, are there any more horror films you guys want me to dive into the true story behind? Let me know in the comments below, and that is it for today's video. Thank you so much to Philo for sponsoring. I really appreciate it. Like I said, you guys, I will have a link down in the description. You can click that link and get 7 days free plus 30% off of your first month of Philo. So thank you so much to Philo for sponsoring, and that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my videos, I would absolutely love it if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button, and please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you.